Hello everybody, welcome back to videos on movies and TV and whatnot. Today we're not talking about IMDb's top 50 greatest films of all time. Oh no, because I haven't had time to see The Usual Suspects yet, and there, just as a disclaimer right now, there will be no videos next week, and I will do more videos the week after that and try to keep going. I'm gonna be busy real soon, but just know, no videos at all next week. But I have a video today. It's Saturday. I don't do videos on Saturday. Usually I've been doing a bunch of stuff recently, and one of the things that I've been doing is kind of paying attention to Comic-Con. Comic-Con has been a thing that was happening and has since ended, and I'm really late in making this video and the video that will follow it when I get back, when I'm doing reviews and whatnot. But I like to see what's going on at Comic-Con because, you know, you get your movie trailers, you get your TV trailers, you figure out what's going on in the cinematic and television world, and that's something that I like to see. That's something I'm interested in. I like to see what directors and actors are doing today, what things are being adapted, what's the next season of this show gonna look like, what's this new show gonna look like, you know? All that stuff is stuff that I want to see, and as you can tell, I've got all my little guys up here. So, we're going to talk about some stuff now, and it's going to be great. Talking about trailers, today we're going to be talking about Wonder Woman, Justice League, Suicide Squad, Lego Batman, Kong Skull Island, and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I'm going to tell you about the trailers, and I'm going to give my thoughts on them as well as how I think the movie will be, or my thoughts on the production, or whatever. So, the first thing that we're going to talk about is Wonder Woman. We have a ways to go before we will be able to see this whole thing on the big screen. It is being released June 2nd of 2015, and it's being directed by Patty Jenkins, who you may or may not have heard of. She directed the film Monster in 2003, where Charlize Theron, who you know, hopefully, for her role as Furiosa in Mad Max Fury Road, she won Best Actress for her portrayal of Aileen Wuornos, who was a serial killer, I believe. All messed up in prosthetics and whatnot in the movie. I haven't seen it, but I hear her performance is very good. Anyway, that's the director. So, when I was watching this trailer, I was actually really surprised by how much I wanted to see it at the end of watching it. One thing that kind of caught me off guard is that it is taking place, or, you know, World War I or World War II. I couldn't quite tell. If anybody has seen the trailer and says, oh, this is absolutely World War II because this, and this, or this is World War I because this, and this, you're a huge history buff or whatnot, let me know. I would appreciate that. So, good stuff there. It looks like an interesting time period to set a superhero film. The last time we saw that was with Captain America, the First Avenger, which was not a very good movie at all. I have pretty strong feelings about some of the Marvel Phase 1 films that just didn't work because at that point it just felt like an incredibly forced setup for the Avengers. I've seen First Avenger once, I hate it. I've seen the first Thor once, I hate it. Saw the second Thor once, I hated it. However, Winter Soldier and Civil War are some of the best superhero movies ever made. So the Captain America franchise has certainly saved itself. But we're not talking about Marvel, alright? That's a whole nother thing. We can talk about Marvel another time. So, this is Wonder Woman's origin story. This is telling of the events of Wonder Woman as a superhero and whatnot before she arrives in the DC Cinematic Universe with Batman and Superman in Batman v Superman. I'm going to talk about Batman v Superman in a little bit. Don't worry about that. So, one thing I was kind of concerned about is how the acting is going to look in this film, because sometimes with these superhero movies, you know, there's not really going to be stellar acting. However, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty solid. Gal Gadot looks like she's doing a good job. And Chris Pine, he's pretty talented. Haven't seen a ton of his stuff, but people like him in Star Trek. He's doing well with that franchise, which just ended with Star Trek Beyond that came out not too long ago. So the acting looks pretty good. One thing that I was very impressed with is the action scenes featuring Wonder Woman that they're showing in this movie. It reminded me a lot of the first Matrix. Most specifically the fight between Neo and Agent Smith in the subway. How they have the slow-mo shot, you know, they charge at each other punching each other, and it kind of freezes and the camera rotates around them in the air, and then it goes back to them fighting. There were some shots like that. Wonder Woman breaks into a room of what appeared to be German soldiers with her sword and shield. You know, she's blocking bullets, punching, kicking guys, hitting them with her sword, bashing them with her shield. It was actually awesome to watch from the very brief things that I saw, but the action looks very promising, and thinking about it now, very much like The Matrix. Another thing, there was a scene of her in kind of a city street, you know, it looks like after a battle or something like that. She has her lasso of truth, which in this she appears to be using as a weapon, as I expected. It's not really something that works with its intended purpose anymore. I don't really know how they're going to use the lasso of truth in the movies, but in this, she's, you know, grabbing guys with it, throwing them up in the air, smacking them into other people. Again, that really smooth, panoramic shot, Matrix-looking thing. It actually looks great. I'm really excited to see how the action goes down in this film. I hope that they keep it the same, because it looks absolutely fantastic. That is by far the most impressive thing about this trailer, and overall I'm looking forward to seeing Wonder Woman. Now, next thing that we're going to talk about is Justice League, which I'm not sure. Is it going to be part 1? Are they breaking the Justice League story into 2 parts? I don't know, but that's something that we can look forward to, I guess. It's coming out November 17th, 2017. So actually just a few months after Wonder Woman and a few months after Avengers Infinity War Part 1. Which, thinking about it now, may be the next Marvel movie. Actually no, Thor Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and then Infinity War? I'm not sure how they're doing the Marvel movies. But Justice League may or may not be a 2-part movie. Is being directed by Zack Snyder, who has directed some really good movies in my opinion, and some movies that not that many people liked. My eye itches like crazy. So, good movies that he's directed. 300 is just a cool action movie that's fun to watch, and I like it. Another one that a lot of people have some mixed feelings on is Watchmen. I'm a huge Watchmen fan. I own the director's cut on Blu-ray. I've seen it 3 times, and I've read the graphic novel, and I have Rorschach and Dr. Manhattan, and I really hope that they will decide to make figures of Silk Spectre, Night Owl, Ozymandias, and the Comedian, because that would just be the greatest thing, and I can have all of them and put them in a video, and it would be wonderful. I did not like the Justice League trailer that much. It was very conflicting with itself, I think is the best way for me to describe it. The tone clashed constantly, because the biggest complaint with the DC Cinematic Universe is, oh, it's too dark. You know, people saw Man of Steel, oh, that movie's too dark. Superman is too dark. That is a word that is abused so much when talking about modern day films, especially superhero movies, and I think that really started with Christopher Nolan's dark retelling of Batman in 2005 with Batman Begins. This is so annoying. I can only imagine how annoying this must look for you guys. I use the word a lot, like, oh, that movie was really dark. There are films that it accurately describes, but it's just being tacked on to every new superhero movie. Oh, this one's going to be darker than the last one. You know, oh, Age of Ultron's going to be darker than the first Avengers. Really, it was just non-stop quips, and I didn't like it much at all. But there was rock music playing throughout the entirety of the Justice League trailer. Why? It didn't fit at all, for the most part. Now, I see that they're making some of the characters more light-hearted. Ezra Miller's performance as the Flash, they're borrowing heavily from the CW program and Grant Gustin, who I think is doing a fantastic job playing Barry Allen, even though that they've kind of changed the character to be more like Wally West, who is a lot more funny and quippy, and Barry Allen is much more serious in the source material comic books. But I think that taking the character in this new direction is perfectly fine, because I don't think we need to go through 2 Flashes to have one be funny. I think it's a change that can be made. If they did something like this to Batman, that would be a completely different story and a, you know, complete ruining of the character. And I think it works fine with the Flash. I think it fits with his powers and how he uses them. So I think Ezra Miller is going to do just fine as the Flash, and I think he was the best part of this trailer by far. We also know that Victor Stone, or Cyborg, will be in this film. We also know that Aquaman will be in this film. Aquaman holds Bruce Wayne up against a steel beam and grunts in a fishing village. That's all he does in this trailer. Jason Momoa isn't doing a whole lot of speaking in this promotional material. So far, I don't know, maybe he'll decide to do that later on. If you're wondering who Jason Momoa is, he played Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones with these guys right here. So that's what you know him from. I think they're taking Aquaman in a completely new direction. Jason Momoa clearly isn't this guy, but, you know, Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck aren't exactly these two either. And Ezra Miller isn't this guy, so we've got, you know, most of the Justice League here. By the way, if you're wondering, there are DC Cinematic Universe versions of at least those two, and probably these guys when that all comes out. Victor Stone as Cyborg, I really know nothing about the character. I think that whoever's playing him will do fine. It doesn't seem like a huge challenge of a portrayal, I don't think. And same thing with The Flash. I think Ezra Miller will do fine. As I said, he was my favorite part of the trailer. Superman wasn't seen in it at all. I don't know. I guess Henry Cavill just wasn't feeling it, or they haven't filmed his scenes yet. I don't know if he's working on other stuff. But that's really all I have to say for Justice League. The trailer really didn't do much to impress me. I think that Ezra Miller was fine. That's really it. Moving on. Suicide Squad. This has been getting hyped up for a very long time, and it is in fact releasing a week from yesterday. So I don't know why they decided to release a 1-minute trailer that focused on Amanda Waller and Rick Flag, the two least important characters in the film. You know, no one really cares about them. We want to see the Joker, Harley Quinn, Deadshot. You know, those are the characters that we are paying to go and see. I don't think this trailer needed to exist at all. It was a minute long, it added nothing, there was no new conversation that could be taken away from the trailer. It is using the thing that worked in the second trailer for the film, where they played Bohemian Rhapsody and had people shooting things and exploding things in rhythm to the song, which worked great the first time, but when you just cram it into this trailer that has no right to be there in the first place, it comes off as a really cheap gimmick, and I just didn't like this trailer much at all. We see Batman in the Batmobile, but even in the first trailer we could see Batman landing on Harley Quinn's car, so we knew that he was going to be making at least a brief appearance in this film. There's really nothing to talk about with this trailer. I thought pretty much all of the others were great, but this one had no need to be there, and I don't know why they really released it. By the way, if you don't know, it's coming out on August 5th, and is directed by David Ayer. I don't know, my phone's buzzing over there. If you can hear that, I apologize. Next thing, this was the most surprising trailer for me of all of the ones that I watched for this video, and that is Lego Batman the Movie, which is coming out February 10th, 2017. It's being directed by Chris McKay, who was the editor to the Lego Movie, and I think most people can agree that Batman was the best part of the Lego Movie. I think that, I can't remember the guy's name who voiced Batman in the Lego Movie. Maybe Will Arnett. That was it. He did a great job. I loved him, and I loved him in this trailer as well. It actually looks really funny, and I'm looking forward to it. The plot direction that they're taking this is Lego Batman essentially has to raise Robin and, you know, help him become a superhero like Batman. I like this kind of man-childish direction that they're taking Bruce Wayne, you know, the whole, oh, Alfred, bats are nocturnal, and Alfred's like, yeah, well, guess what? It's 9 o'clock in the morning, you've been out all night, now go be Bruce Wayne, you can't be Batman anymore, and, you know, he hisses at the sunlight. I thought that was funny, and I think that this will be a good movie, to be honest. I'm looking forward to watching it. It was it was funny, it was smart. I'm looking forward to watching it. Not a ton of stuff to discuss. I'm not going to go through looking for Easter eggs or whatever in this trailer. It just looks like a fun movie that I will go see when it comes out. Next, Kong Skull Island, the King Kong movie that nobody asked for. It is coming out on March 10th of 2017. It's being directed by Jordan Roberts. I have no idea how you pronounce the first part of his hyphenated last name, Vogt. I don't know how you pronounce that. It's starring Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, and Samuel L. Jackson, all talented actors. Brie Larson just won an Oscar for her performance in Room. Samuel L. Jackson, we love him from every Quentin Tarantino movie he's ever starred in. And Tom Hiddleston, you either love him because he's Loki, or, you know, you just think that he has potential to be a good actor. I don't know that miniseries that he just did on AMC with Hugh Laurie, but that was supposed to be pretty good. I think it was The Night Manager, is what it was called. That was supposed to be pretty good. He was supposed to be good in that. Kong Skull Island is essentially a retelling of the King Kong story, but without all of the human parts of the King Kong story. Yes, Skull Island is still a thing, that's why it's in the title. King Kong still lives there. There are, you know, natives on the island that worship Kong. But Brie Larson is not playing Ann Darrow, Tom Hiddleston is not playing Jack Driscoll, and Samuel L. Jackson is not playing Carl Denham. If you can't tell, I'm actually a pretty big fan of Peter Jackson's King Kong from back in 2005. I saw the extended edition of that film, which runs over 3.5 hours. I actually really enjoyed it. I think it's a great movie, and I'm interested to see where they're taking this. They're obviously doing what every remake is doing, and they're making it darker in tone. They're making it more violent. There are helicopters that crash on the island, and that's where we have these characters wandering around. It's straying from the traditional story, as I said, and I would watch it kind of just to see how it is. I think it has potential to be a fantastic science fiction action-adventure thriller, or it should just be completely boring, flat, and, you know, forgettable. I think either way, there's a lot of names attached to the film that people like and people want to see. People want to see Samuel L. Jackson. They, after Room, want to see Brie Larson, and, you know, a bunch of people love Tom Hiddleston. I'm not really one of them. I think he's good, but, you know, I'm not crazy for his work or anything like that. One thing I want to talk about is people talking about the Universal Monsters series, which is essentially Godzilla back in 2014 with about 10 minutes of Bryan Cranston, which was the reason we all went to see it, because Breaking Bad had ended and we wanted more of him, before he died 10 minutes into the film. There are people saying that that was made to start up this connected universe of films with the different monsters of the days of old, you know, King Kong, Godzilla, whatnot, so that this might actually be connected with that film. If that's the case, I really just want to see King Kong fight Godzilla. By the way, King Kong looks absolutely huge in this film, much bigger than he did in the 2005 version. So if this leads to a movie where they fight, I will definitely pay to go see that in the theater. This, I don't know, I would rent it. If it gets great reviews, I will go see it in the theaters. I don't have any particularly strong opinions on this one. I think that you should make up your own mind on Kong Skull Island. And the last thing I want to talk about is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which is coming out November 18th, 2016, this year. And it's being directed by David Yates. Now, who is David Yates? He directed most of the later Harry Potter films, including what I think was the perfect ending for the series. Unfortunately, J.K. Rowling disagrees with me and thinks that this series should just keep going and never die, because it's making way too much money and she refuses to let the characters go. I have a big problem with that. I think that she should have stopped and moved on to other things as soon as the Deathly Hallows ended. It was a great book. The series overall is good. It is a good introduction to fantasy, but as much as I want to compare it to The Lord of the Rings and A Song of Ice and Fire, I know it's unfair to do that. They're far more mature and they're far more complex, and Harry Potter is the beginner's guide to fantasy. That being said, I immensely enjoyed watching the movies and reading the books when I was younger, and some of the movies I still like today, mainly Goblet of Fire and Deathly Hallows Part 2. Those are both pretty solid movies, in my opinion. However, this trailer is for a film that stars Eddie Redmayne, who I just dislike as an actor. I don't like him. He didn't deserve his Oscar in 2014, or was it? Yeah, in 2014, Michael Keaton deserved it because Birdman was better than The Theory of Everything. This trailer itself wasn't particularly interesting. It didn't really bring anything new that I was already expecting to see in this movie. for those of you who don't know, it's about this guy named Newt Scamander who writes a book called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which is also the title of this film. He writes this book and Harry Potter reads it while he's at Hogwarts. That's basically the biggest drawing point to this film. That's what they're using to make people want to go see it. If you look at the IMDb synopsis, that's the story. He is in the wizarding community of New York, and he lets all these monsters loose and he has to go catch them. I think that the franchise that is Harry Potter needs to stop now. She's writing an 8th book, which is actually being released tomorrow, called Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I will not be reading it. If it's made into a movie, I will probably not be watching it. I don't want more Harry Potter. I want J.K. Rowling, who is a good writer, in my opinion, to use that talent to do other things. She created this world that millions of people fell in love with. But it lasted a long time. It lasted 7 books, 8 films, and a ton of spin-offs. And I think that she needs to try something new. The entire marketing for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is that this is a spin-off of Harry Potter. You love Harry Potter, so you will love our movie. And I don't think that's how they should be going about it. If you want to set it in the same universe, if you're saying, no, we're going to make this movie, then that's fine. You do that, and you're going to make a ton of money off of it. But I think that you should market it independently and let people connect it to Harry Potter on their own time. If you're a big fan of the franchise and the name Newt Scamander or Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them rings a bell in your head and you say, hey, that's from Harry Potter, then good for you. Don't say, hey, remember Harry Potter? Guess what? This is Harry Potter, so come see it. They're almost marketing it the same way that they would a 9th film. Instead, they should be doing it as a spin-off, which I don't really think they're doing. I think David Yates directing it is another, grab at attracting fans of the Harry Potter films to go and see this movie. I honestly don't think that I will go see it. I'm not interested in it, I'm not excited for it, and I think Harry Potter just needs to go away forever. If you disagree with me, that's fine, and I know that there are lots of you that do. That is my own opinion. I hope that you can respect that, and if you're super excited for this movie or you're super excited for the next book, then that's fine. There are even people that admit that the franchise is tired, and they're still excited. And you know what? You do you. That's fine if that's how you feel. I've given my thoughts. So, next time that I make this video, I don't know when it will be, we'll be talking about a lot of the Netflix Marvel series that are coming out, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and the Defenders, as well as The Walking Dead Season 7 trailer. Really looking forward to that now that I've caught up on the comics, as well as the trailer for Season 4 of Sherlock, which is finally coming in 2017. I am super excited for that, you don't even know. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope that you learned something today, or I hope that you're super mad at me for hating Harry Potter or whatever. If that's how you feel, then that's fine. Bye now.